So I'm going to let you know that I do things and I recognize to see what actually heals. So thank you back to my channel, and this is just the second part of what I just barely did a video on, of the energetic energy, angel energy, and spiritual and non-spiritual, metaphysical, whatever. So basically, just knowledge of what my thoughts are on the healing and the power. So I brought up Christ teaching knowledge of what I think is fascinating from stories I kind of grew up on and knew a lot about, and realized it in my own way, and then looked at it, and then had my own experience. So that's why I let it be known. If I had an experience where I saw Lakshmin or any other form of creator or being, then I would bring up that story or that experience. And I have witnessed possible connections with them when I meditate. There's times that I've felt that there's another one meditating with me after I just talked to someone, and it seems like they've reached out to me in other realms that are of that too, and they realize that I am a soul that cares to do that, and they were powerful enough to be able to. And I don't know if they knew that they connected with me or what, but they did, or someone similar to them did, that really made results happen. So I do believe in meditation of all faiths and all connections. Unconditional love is the best, from what I've noticed. When we put judgments aside and bless it, and we say that I'm going to use my power, you use yours, let's see what's stronger. How about you just put them as equal, and they'll both work together as equals? Because Christ says, if someone can heal or whatever, even if they're of another faith or another religion, or saying they follow me but aren't one of my apostles following me or whatever, but they're able to do all the things that I teach you to do and how to do that I've told you everybody can, then they are of him. And they are of his knowledge, the Ra one, all of that stuff. It's all connected in all history lore. And so that's what I got drawn to. And at first I didn't know any of this. And at first I was still conditioned by my own belief system of how I was told it would work. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm special. I've been chosen. I'm good. But then people in my belief system didn't believe that the experience I saw may not have been, but it healed me and helped me. And I was like, okay, I got to leave this religion, because they are doubting the power of full healing for all. And then I saw legal agreements that they made and that they're allowing, and I was like, I can't be a part of that. And then I saw other religions were doing the same, and it's just, I'm not against the religions per se. It's their agreements that they made that are contradicting the full power of healing that they know they're doing. And some don't know they're doing it, and if they look in their agreements, of legal agreements, of why they chose to, and justify, they become the Pharisees of old, and the priest of Noah's in their religious books, whether those are true stories or not, and they're following the things that they said no one should follow or be, and they're choosing to be them. And it's like, do you realize what you're doing? You're doing what you said not to do. And so that's why I follow the path of being my full self, regardless the flaws or the things others consider as flaws. It's about the heart that matter, not the flaws. The flaws are only there because of restrictions or things that are holding us back, things that are not being provided, that if were there, we would be amazing. And we already are amazing, better than what we were told we could be, even with those restrictions or trickeries trying to come at us. We're able to go over them, and soon we'll surpass them. And we already have. And so it's really cool. Like, the more I start loving me and my hair and everything that I am, and loving everything that is me, and everything that I choose to wear upon me, that's letting me be one with it, or use it for a time for cover, or for respect because of the symbolism or the feeling that I like about it, or respect that what it has taught me and what I learned from it. And like, I love superhero shows because superhero shows have a lot of knowledge and teachings of biblical teachings and energetic teachings and mystical teachings that are all about what's going on and what's coming. And regardless who's telling you these agendas or these awarenesses in these shows or ideas, they also bring up a lot of stuff that I like about being yourself and being loved and finding a family that will accept you for you and will be there for you and won't abandon you or push you away for you choosing to be different than what they think that you should be. You're being the you know you are, the unconditional love you, and those that don't like that expect you to be part of some kind of group or requirement of a social construct that is harming you or has harmed you, why would you want to be part of someone that would like you to be harmed when you know you were harmed doing those things? And why would they ignore the harm that's been done and not be aware and respect what works for you and find people that can help match you if they're unable to? Maybe they should find groups for you. If they really unconditionally love you or are your group of family care, why don't they find what you're looking for, that you're asking for, not what they expect that you know has harmed you, that they should respect and notice has harmed you. If it's harming you, harming them, why would you promote it to them more and more and more? And so I tell people, do what you feel works for you. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree with it, because I've noticed what actually has helped. And it would be interesting if they trusted my insight, because I need to be drawn to people that know the insight that I know, or at least start noticing it, and let them decide for themselves. And then eventually, if it's pure and right and connects with each other, they will figure out the same thing I have, or close to it. But we're all different, and we're all different life paths. So we have all different choices that we must make for ourselves that makes us fully us. And when we respect what others desire and what they're looking for, and we help them get there when we're able to, and we know it matters to them and we're able to do it, why not do it for them? And there are people that say, yeah, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing... Ask me. Maybe you have asked me and you know why, or you asked me in the past before I am the person I am now, and you don't know what my real thoughts are now. I would love to tell people what I've learned and what I care about. I really care about people's dream boards. And if they feel that there's a certain way to get it, I would say, well, how do you feel that you'll receive it in? And I see them saying that they believe they'll get it this way, but then they self-doubt themselves. And you hear a lot of that self-doubt language because they think you must self-doubt. And then nothing. And so that's why they put limits, and they believe that the limitations are so that they don't fall astray in their belief or connections or get their hopes up. And one of the things I realized about the teachings is once you start making things simple, so start loving things that you would like to receive. Believe and care about the things you already have that would bring more of what you would desire. So appreciate it for what it is. Instead of hating it or not liking it, focus on something that will get you to that direction if that's what you really would like. And if you don't think that's the way to do it, then you already have your answer, and so why don't you just keep doing what you're doing? And people will be like, yeah, I am. I'm doing what I'm doing. But there's a reason why you're wanting to do more, and so you're asking about doing more. And I realized that there is a way to do it, and it's helped me a ton, is once I started putting aside the doubts, and I'm like, I know what can help, and I started doing those things. So Figo frequencies, listening to Sofigo frequencies, and frequencies similar. Right now I'm actually listening to 432 hertz, which is the miracle nature tone, because I've been drawn to it a few times, and I've been listening to different variations of it and other forms of frequencies too. And it's really powerful because as I listen to it and I talk to you and tell you things, it brings that same vibration and belief energy towards you because I'm embodying it. So now you're hearing my voice and my vibrations, and it's giving you the same vibrational frequency similar to what's part of me. And I'm speaking, and even if it's not quite the tone that I'm listening and hearing, it's been going on long enough that now it's part of my voice. Now it's coming through my voice in some way, and it will heal all those listening. Because that's my purpose. That's what my hope. Now, if you're afraid that it won't and you don't want that frequency, then move on and go to some other frequency you would prefer that would help you if you're afraid of it. So when you're afraid of something that you don't need to be afraid of, or that you think you should be afraid of, make sure you do what you feel you should do, and then if you feel like you were wrong, go back to it. If you feel that you can. If you are upset because you can't find it now, forgive yourself and you will find something similar or better. And it's always better. And so even if it seems similar, it will go to the better thing. But if you feel that it won't, and you have all these vibrations that doubt you or put you down or make you self-doubt or self-trigger or self-defeat yourself, why are you doing that? Who has taught you to do that? What is the energy that you've allowed in your life to think that you are worthless? Because you're not. You're amazing. You have great health and wealth and happiness that wants you so much if you want it. And if it matters to you, it will show up. So the way that you do it is a simple approach is just love everything. And that's the energetic way with your heart. And do it in the spiritual way with your conditions that you feel you should condition yourself in by what your religion tells you that you think is true or what you've chosen to trust in. Which I would still research and make sure you know what you're getting into. If you still think it's good, then you've made it be what you feel you want your universe and you want your heaven to be like. And that's fine. That's great. And just because your heaven is one way doesn't mean someone else's heaven isn't going to be just as good or better. It's going to be whatever our energies are. And they've noticed that. The more that you trust and believe in what you desire, the more you bring that desire to you. So Christ and others have said, if you ask a storm to cease, it will cease. And I've tried it out. I'm like, okay, let me try all these teachings that they're teaching. And then I've seen different snippets of what Buddha and others have said, and different stories that I get drawn to, that other proverbs and other things I get drawn to that other people bring up on YouTube channels or shows or different stuff. I'm like, let me try this. This sounds really cool. And let me connect it with my value system that I feel is safe for me to follow, and that I feel more connected with, so that I'm not doing something I don't feel right about. And let me just go towards what I know matters to me, not what others tell me I should do, but what I feel matters to me. Once I started doing that, it was way better than what I was doing before. And so what happened was I started seeing the truth and seeing everybody else follow the lies. I was like, what? How can I wake them up? Is there a way for them to wake up? No, they have to choose to do it for themselves, but they will wake up. That's the other thing I add in. I go, they will wake up. I can't think that they won't. I gotta trust that they will. I don't know how. I don't need to know how. I just gotta think and trust that they will. I gotta have belief that they will see what doesn't fit with them. Even if it's stuff that I am doing that doesn't resonate with what they know they should do, because I'm not them. I don't go through what they've gone through. So some of the things I might do might not be what they need to do. Because I may want to do the things that they may think they should do and that they feel that they want to do. And there's things I see myself eventually doing because I've done before, and I want to get back to that. But then part of me wonders, should I do it? Would it be okay for me to do it? Because once I'm in that atmosphere, then I got to trust it, and then I got to take the consequences I never thought of back then. That could have happened to me back then, but luckily never did, because I didn't really think about it or worry about it. I trusted people all around me thinking that I'd be okay. So then I realized, you know what? I got to get back to that trust that there will be people that will be there for me that I can trust. And if I get hurt, I'll be able to mend fast regardless. And then if I find out that someone isn't trusted, I'll have to do something else to get away from that toxic if it shows up. But it shouldn't, and if it does, it will be replaced with something to hit it back for doing so, because I only want the right energies that fit me, that serve me. And so sometimes we think certain people will serve us, and then we find out that they are very similar to us, but there might be something that they need that we don't need. And so we may be looking for something from them, thinking that they'll give it to us when we already have it from this other avenue, or we'll get it from this other avenue. But we do what we can with what is given by those that we get drawn to, and then when it's time for us to go to another individual, we'll be moved to them. But eventually we'll find that soul connection that will always match us, and that we'll adapt together because we'll make that decision and that choice together. But that's what all this is first off, what is interesting about this whole connection, or this whole truth and this whole purpose, is there is a purpose out there for all of us. And some of us feel stuck because we've allowed the people around us to keep us stuck in this moment, because one of us wants the other and the other wants it, and then we kind of tolerate, because if we can't get it from this other people, then eventually maybe this person will, and that's why we keep them around us. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to receive what I desire to receive. It's going to happen. It's going to manifest itself. And you just keep telling yourself that. You pray, you bawl, you do whatever you feel you should, and don't worry about doing what you feel you should do. If you're crying and praying for something to happen, will it happen? Sure. I've had it happen, crying and praying before. It works. And it's awesome. It was amazing every time it's done. I've also done it other ways too, with a peaceful focus and forgiving. Even when I just gave something away, it was awesome. I gave something away, and it was really cool because it was provided for the individual. And I'm just like, that's awesome. So we all choose the path that we choose based on our hearts. Regardless whether we think we're following our hearts or not, we always are. The question is your heart chained? And is your mind chained by things that you've kept doing because you feel that if you do, you would go into unfamiliar territory that would ruin your relationship and your family relationship, or you're fearful because you don't want to lose what you feel matters to you. You don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to steer them wrong. You don't want them to go to a bad place by you choosing to go somewhere that they would think would be considered a bad place, that then they would trust you and then go there themselves. You have to first figure out, what is it I truly accept and fully have belief in? What is my value system? So you have to decide, what is your value system? What is appropriate to you? And what are you okay to go through? And what is it appropriate for the law and the things around you that you've chosen to accept or have in your life? And is it okay? And what are your boundaries? How far are you willing to stay with something? And what are your no ways am I going to let that compromise my life? What are those choices? You have to decide those lists and put it together. Now, girls love doing stuff like this, I've noticed. They love going into it and figuring out all of these variables and just dissecting it and looking through it all. Most girls and ladies do it, even if they deny wanting to do that. And I've noticed this pattern, but not all do, but most somehow have. And it's because they've gone through pain and they know what pain is, and they have a constant biological connected pain that the universe had them be, whether they wanted to or not. And it was interesting because once we realize who we feel we are, we start to realize that we could have been other lifetimes. And some know we were other lifetimes. For me, I'm starting to catch on to the fact that that seems plausible. Do I like it? I'm going to be honest. No, I don't. I don't like the idea of different lifetimes. I prefer that every lifetime, if there is other lifetimes, we should all be allowed a utopia after this lifetime is done, or be resurrected in the utopia realm when this lifetime is done, so that we can be able to have multiple utopias for everybody. Freedom, peace, world, utopia, Aquarius age, golden age for all lifetimes. Everybody deserves to have a lifetime of peace, a lifetime of non-pain, to be in their own individual heavens. And that your heaven is your perfect heaven. And if you want to be what you want to be there, you will be. Not from what others say you will be. You are what you feel you are. Your vibrations are what make it happen. And that's something that I woke up to and was grateful to hear and hold to, because it really did change my life. And it really extended my life and told me my path. But it was also my choice. It wasn't, you have to do this. This is what you're... No, it was, you are this, and you're going to figure it out on your own. You don't need me to give you all the answers, but I'm giving you as much as you feel you need to know. And I'm going to have it always there in you, and you'll know what to do. And even if you make the wrong choices, the choices will be corrected and you'll be provided for. So love yourself, forgive yourself, and even if people make you doubt and depress, or put things at you, or certain metaphysical things happen that cause you problems, headaches, and different issues, those things will pass and heal. And then you will be the best that you can be. And then I got drawn to making sure I got positive texts from people that are positive YouTubers that do that, and then other individuals, so that I can have a huge amount of groups, even if they don't fully agree or disagree with what I feel is what my universe is, and what our universe all is connected to, in whatever way it is. Pretty much all possibilities are real, so all timelines are real, but then some of those timelines may not be real anymore, and they're recorrecting themselves and going to be burst into being again, but in a better form than it was. And so everything, to me, I focus that wherever I go, it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. It's going to be better. If I die, it's fine. I'll go to my heaven. But I was told I wouldn't, and that I would probably just ascend, and you can ascend through death or non-death. You don't have to die to ascend. And that's the one thing some people call transfigured, translated. Transfigured is more of seeing the other realm, and then translated is actually going to the other realm, is what the religion that I used to be in taught about. But it's actually in other religion groups. See, a lot of religions like to say that they're the ones that coined that term or that idea, and it's false. It's in all of them, just said differently, and some of them are the same, and they try to say they're the only ones that said it that way, and it's not true. It's in all connections, and some say, oh, only this church says that families can be together forever. That's not true. All families are already together forever, because everything is connected, and you can still do that whether you're silt to them or not. And that's just the connection that it says. And if it is required, then it will be provided when for a surety, unconditionally. If it's not conditional, if it's conditional and it's abusive in that way, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to have a huge argument with my higher form if that's the way that it is. And what I found out is when I met my higher form, it wasn't that way. I was told, you are exactly right. There are things happening to you, and I was shown, and at first I was taken aback at some of the stuff that was shown to me, that there was no way, and then I found out that, yeah, it was the way. It was going on. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I know, but now I'm just like, wow, why would it be allowed? And so then I realized that I had to deal with vibrational choices and decisions that our collective form chose to do. And I'm just like, well, in the long run, I guess it's good, because then all our fractal forms of self can heal or correct that form of that form of ourselves so that we can get rid of the form of self, of that collective self that doesn't serve the full connection of the oneness that we all are. So it's very interesting because it's just we're together forever in that way. And it's just, and we all will be individuals. That was one thing that was pretty interesting to hear. And that we always are, and we always will be, and that the beings are always around us all the time, physically, metaphysically, and within us and around us all the time. And they're literally there, physically there, and metaphysically there. You can ask them to touch your arm, and they will, and they'll hug you, love you. Even if you don't feel it, they are, and you'll feel something, and they'll love you and care for you. Some are like, be careful, which one do you have? Well, when you do that energy, then of course you're going to invite other forms, but then you can ask the other form to block that form or to make it healed so that you have more light forms healing, and that dark form of you can be healed from that worry that you had, that someone got you to worry or think about. So I've learned to kind of just let things go from those worries, even if it's difficult. Doesn't mean that the energies or the beings don't try. They have. But one of the biggest things I notice that really has given me comfort is the God form self. That's what I call it, the Christ God form self. I actually now just call it the God form self, because it seems like it feels better for me to call it that. It's like it wants to be called that, because that form or that being doesn't want to be seen as a deity or feel as a deity, but it kind of likes it. But it's really not wanting that. It's more of an unconditional love form that's always helping me. It's like many people have all these other angels and archangels, and I've had those too. But for me, it's like all the ones that help me, they are under the full direction of the God self. And the God self sometimes intervenes and does their place, or I get to them and always wants to be there with me, as if I am one with that form above all the others. So that form has chosen me as a caring being and cares about me similar to how they cared about Christ. And I was like, or said to be. And I'm like, that's so cool. And even the Christ form that came to me said that I'm them and they're me, and everybody is everybody. And everybody can call upon the form, even if they don't believe in that form, because the form isn't really a deity, it's just every form. And so it doesn't care whether the form believes in them or not, because they still exist in some form connection to them, and they know it deep within their heart that there is something to it, and that there is many beings are going to come and correct, or we're going to be drawn into their realm, and then we'll see them because we'll be them, but they'll also be individual, and it's just going to be trippy. Some already know and know what I'm talking about, but some that don't, you will know. It's going to be way weird, but it's going to be way cool too, because you're going to feel their feelings, their thoughts. You're going to read everybody's minds and thoughts and feelings, and it's just going to work out. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be an issue. Everybody will love each other and finally be at oneness for each other, and not try to pick or think that others want to pick on the other. They'll all heal each other like we're supposed to already be doing. And so, to keep it simple, we can just love everything and say, I want to do things that bring me joy or enjoyment. And when you're in quarantine or when you have physical health situations, it's okay if you feel like you need to rest and do certain things. I try to pace around and go and do things where I get drawn to. And for me, it's a little bit different, but I do what I feel that I should do spiritually, physically, and I know that I'll get what I need. And once those things are provided and manifested, I'm going to be doing so much with that. And I already see myself doing it. And I'll be probably going on rock climbing walls when I can. I'll probably be going to theme parks. I'll probably be going with people to laser tag places, because that's where I used to go, and that's what I always love to do. I'd probably go to theme parks that are still hopefully around, or will create ones to be around again. And places similar to what Disney did, where they had animatronics and cool stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean, going on the boat ride thing and fun stuff like that. I loved rides like that had a story to tell. And you just go through that ride and it tells you a story and it does fun things and entertaining things and sounds and just gets you going, gets you having fun. You're going through a ride that's like Indiana Jones stuff and it's action and it's certain things coming at you. I used to love going to haunted houses just because of things jumping at you or doing stuff or having a girl on my arm and then she'd jump and hold on to me tighter because of being scared of it. I didn't have very many girls that did that because some of them were pretty tough and handled it well, and I was impressed. But I love the cuddling. I love wanting to feel like I'm helping and protecting them. I love a girl, even if they know that they can protect themselves, them having me feel validated like I'm this strong guy makes me feel strong, regardless whether I am or not. And it makes me feel validated, it makes me feel loved, it makes me feel loyal, it makes me want to stay and be there, and then makes me want to achieve more and try. But if I can't achieve something, it makes me feel sad and worthless. So I've had to find my own path and be like, okay, before I can really have a healthy relationship, I first need to have the funds to handle my own needs. And then they would need to have their own funds to have their own needs. And then we don't have to rely on one another, but we can equally be there for each other. And that won't matter anymore. And that's what I actually agree with. That's what I resonate with. And I've noticed that there are some girls out there that resonate that same way. And it's like I keep seeing factual girls, but they're all either taken or desiring a different type of guy than I am, but with the same personality type that they would want. Just not the physical or requirements that they think need to be done or the expectation. So it's just, for me, I think the reason why certain people haven't found each other is because there's barriers in between us to where we are missing a piece of that whole that would then bring us together. And then we would be the perfect match for each other because we would be that balance that we're looking for once we both have what we're both feeling we need equally for ourselves. So once we feel successful and feel like we're complete, then we can be with other complete people and then we're okay to go. And there might be a soul group connection. Also, 2017, 2022, there might be something that happens during that time of a timeline where we do find our soulmates and everything is what some have gotten drawn to, like I have. But anyway, do I believe in angel beings and other stuff? Yes, I do. Have I communicated with some? Yes, I have, but not in the way that others have said it works. So anyway, bless you all. Take care.